airwaves of ESPN News. Number to call up as always is 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. Time for Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Got a lot of stuff to get into today. Got a Thursday night football matchup coming up in the Mile High City. Denver Broncos hosting Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. Bradley Beal for the Washington Wizards got a new contract extension. I'll tell you what that means. LeBron and AD looking formidable in Los Angeles, albeit the preseason, blowing out the Golden State Warriors. I got that to talk about. But I got the Yankees on my mind for a moment now. Let's not lose perspective. Let's not lose perspective. Let's be very, very clear about what's going on here. Because of a rain delay last night, or postponement, Game 4, scheduled for last night at Yankee Stadium, was postponed due to inclement weather. I would know because I was stuck traveling yesterday, and that weather held me up for a legitimate 3 hours, okay? Let me be very, very clear about that. And I'm going to tell you something right now. I am not happy. Not by any stretch of the imagination, as to the predicament that the New York Yankees are in. This is it. This is it right here. To me, this is the series. If the Yankees lose this game, if they lose Game 4 with Masahiro Tanaka on the hill, if they lose this game, series is over. You ain't coming back from a 3-1 deficit against these Houston Astros. It's not happening. Not with Garrett Cole, not with Verlander. It's not happening. I don't give a damn what anybody says. You're not coming back from a 3-1 deficit and winning 3 straight against the Houston Astros. This is it. This is it right here. You're the New York Yankees with Tanaka on the hill, with what he brings to the table as essentially your ace in the postseason. If he can't get it done for you, it's a wrap. 132 career ERA in the postseason, spanning 7 starts and 41 innings pitched. I'm reading right from MLB.com. ERA tied for the 4th lowest in history among pitchers who have made at least 5 postseason starts. That includes the great Sandy Koufax, the great Christy Mathewson, and of course, Steven Strasburg with a 1.10 ERA in the postseason his damn self. This October, this month, Tanaka's 0.82 ERA, allowing just 1 run in 11 innings. And his pair starts while striking out 11. I'm sorry, I need that against the Houston Astros. These brothers are no joke. Correa, Bregman, Altuve, it doesn't matter. They find a way. And with this staff, it is what it is. So I'm here to tell you something right now. If you are the New York Yankees, you got to get it done right now. You don't get it done right now. This is the series. This is the series. And I'm going to tell you something, too. Here's the thing. For those of you who don't understand, why would a rain delay toward everything? Because it's an additional days of rest. Well, first of all, Houston and their staff, guess what? They don't need any damn rest. The fact that you gave them an extra day's rest is not a good thing. Now, it might be good for the Yankees from the standpoint that you didn't have to rely on your bullpen to win Game 4. Now you could put Tanaka because it's traditional, regular, day of rest. He got that 3-4 day break. So obviously he comes on the hill now and it doesn't disrupt him in any way. I feel that. But the flip side to it is that when you're dealing with this ALCS series, which obviously has the potential to go 7 games just like it did a couple of years ago, and you look at all the things going on, here's the reality. Because you got last night off due to inclement weather, you play tonight, then you talk about a Game 5, Game 6, Game 7, with no rest whatsoever. I got news for you. Aroldis Chapman ain't that impressive when he has to pitch back-to-back nights. He ain't that great. And a Yankee bullpen. I mean, what am I supposed to think here? I'm supposed to believe that Conley's going to get it done? Is that what I'm supposed to believe? Because I'm not sold. I'm really not. Ottavino, I'm supposed to believe he's going to get it done? I'm not sold. I got questions about these dudes. Zach Britton, I'm supposed to believe he's going to get it done. I'm not sold. You got Game 4, Game 5. You got Tanaka and Paxson. You need wins in both games, but especially tonight. You can overcome a 3-2 deficit easier than you can overcome a 3-1 deficit. You got a 3-1 deficit against these Houston Astros. I'm telling you, this series is over. The Houston Astros are going to be playing the Washington Nationals in the World Series, and it's bad for baseball. That's right, I said it. It's going to be bad for baseball. You hear me talking to you. It's not a good thing. If the Washington Nationals, without Bryce Harper, end up playing the Houston Astros, that's not good. You want the Yankees or the Dodgers in the mix, period. And to a lesser degree, the Boston Red Sox in the mix, period. What you do not want is the Astros versus the Nationals. Now, honestly, here's a couple of reasons why. First of all, that doesn't exactly have the sizzle that you want. Let's just get that out the way. Number two, stout pitching. That means low-scoring games. That's what that means. Verlander, Cole, Greinke, really? And in Washington's case, we were so busy paying attention to the fact that Bryce Harper was gone that we forgot. We forgot what they got working for them. We forgot about Anibal Sanchez. We forgot about Scherzer, even though we don't really forget about Scherzer. Strasburg, now Corbin. We forgot about all of those guys. I'm sorry. We'll be lucky if we see 4 or 5 run games in that World Series. That ain't going to sell the sport of baseball. Let's just call it what it is. That's not going to sell the sport of baseball. They're already behind the curve instead of ingratiating themselves and appealing to a younger generation. We all know that. So since we know that and we understand that that's what it is, what is there to talk about? You want the Yankees in this World Series going to the nation's capital, going against the Nationals and that pitching staff. Yes, you do. Yankees going to have to find a way to figure this out. And I believe in my heart of hearts that the Yankees will take out Washington if they got past Houston, because I believe Houston's a tougher matchup than Washington. I don't care what you've seen from Washington against the Dodgers. I don't care what you've seen from Washington and them blitzing and just destroying the St. Louis Cardinals. I don't care about that. They ain't the Yankees. And the Yankees will go in there into the nation's capital, and I believe they will handle their business, period, if they get past Houston. Houston, to me, is the matchup that I don't favor the Yankees in. You're down 2-1. I knew it would happen because I knew you were not beating Cole. But now you got to step this up. And you got to find a way to figure it out and do what you need to do. 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. You are listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show. ESPN Radio, ESPN News. I want to stay on baseball for this particular instance and this particular reason. You know, one of the things that I noticed, and I don't know if you all noticed this or not. I mean, have you been paying attention to Major League Baseball here? Have you really been paying attention? Because I got news for you. Things are not great. Here's the deal, y'all. Bryce Harper gets $330 million over 13 years from the Philadelphia Phillies. He doesn't make the postseason after leaving the Washington Nationals to come a few miles north to play in Philadelphia. He doesn't make the postseason. The Phillies don't make the postseason. Their manager gets fired. Manny Machado signs for $300 million. He doesn't make the postseason. His manager gets fired. Mike Trout, absolute stud. We all know this. He signs for $400+ million with the Angels. They don't make the postseason. Brad Ausmus gets fired. Now, obviously, the Angels just hired Joe Madden, who I believe is the perfect choice for that franchise. Not only was he a great manager in Tampa, not only was he a great manager with the Chicago Cubs and a champion, but he's somebody that used to work for the Angels under Mike Socha many years ago. I got no problems with Joe Madden. That's an absolute perfect pick for the Angels. Great call on their part. But I got something to tell you. You see these guys getting paid this big money. In light of Machado, Harper, Trout, the money that they got paid, and how little in the way of production it materialized into for their teams. Is it time to acknowledge that baseball players simply should not be getting this much money? It's just a question. I don't know the answer. It's just a question. But is it time to start acknowledging these dudes don't need to be getting paid this money? Because it's not about winning championships or not. You ain't even making the postseason. LeBron makes that money, his team gets to the postseason. Russell Westbrook makes money, his team got to the postseason. Kevin Durant made money, his team got to the postseason. Steph Curry made money, his team got to the postseason. James Harden got money, his team got to the postseason. In the NBA, Elite Stars is generating additional income for you by their participation in postseason action. In baseball, that's not happening. And then when you look at the Nationals, who basically never really replaced Bryce Harper, and to see the way that they're playing and how well they're doing without him, doesn't it make you feel sorry for Bryce Harper? Doesn't it make you feel sorry for him sitting someplace right now watching the Nationals just be in this position? They've never made the World Series in franchise's history. Not when they were the Montreal Expos, not since they've been the Washington Nationals. And the very first year, Bryce Harper turns down $300 million and gets $330 million for the Philadelphia Phillies. The very first year that happens, this team goes to the World Series without him. I got news for you. If I'm a baseball player looking to get paid, first of all, I've been noticing a trend anyway, where you see these guys having to wait forever to get paid in the offseason to grab onto a team and to get paid and to end up playing for somebody. That's bad in and of itself. But when you take into account the fact that you're witnessing guys get this money and lose, and teams letting them go and going the cheaper route and winning, I got news for you. That would give me cause to pause. If I were an executive, I ain't giving anybody $300 million. Why would I do that? Why would I do that? Clearly, I can win without paying you that hefty price. Clearly, I can win without you, period. You can lose by paying less, you know. Mike Trout is a superstar personified. Bryce Harper didn't have that bad of a year. I know he only batted .260. But when you look at his home runs, his RBIs, his doubles, etc., he had a productive year. Manny Machado's no scrub. What did it do for them? I got to tell you something. I don't know if I'd ever pay these guys this money in baseball again. Clayton Kershaw, he's phenomenal in the regular season, and at least his team gets to the postseason. Fair enough. But we saw those back-to-back home runs he gave up. We saw how he's got to put it on him because he's a $215 million man that can't close in a postseason to save his life. In the sport of baseball, is it possible that we have reached a point where we can look at dudes and say, nobody deserves that money? Pitchers, catchers, fielders, batters, doesn't matter. Why give up that money? Right now, the way I look at baseball, I got news for you. It wouldn't be a damn soul getting paid over $225 million. If that ain't enough, bleep you, go find another home. I wouldn't give anybody that money no more. Because I'm winning without them. I'm losing with them. What difference does it make? That's my take. What's y'all's? 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. You're listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio, ESPN News. A couple of other things that I wanted to go to before we went to commercial break. Got a football game tonight. We're supposed to be excited. You can catch Thursday Night Football on Fox and the NFL Network. Both the networks, by the way, do an outstanding job covering the sport. And Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, I mean, they've just established themselves. Look, when they're at a game, you know it's important. It's just that simple. When they are at a game, you know it's important. It's just that simple. No way around it. But I got to tell you something. As I look at this Thursday night game, which, by the way, there have been quite a few good ones recently, by the way. Credit and props to the NFL for pulling that off. When I look at Thursday night football's matchup, Denver Broncos have won 2 straight. I get it. Vic Fangio seems to be getting that steered in the right direction. Their defense is relatively decent. Von Miller is still no joke. They won their last 2 games, one of them being against the Los Angeles Chargers. I get it. I understand that they shut out Tennessee last week as well. This is a top 10 defense. There's 2 things that I notice about Denver. Number one, you're going to have to run the football. With Lindsey and Royce, bottom line is, you look at the Denver Broncos, Joe Flacco has got 7 turnovers in 6 games. He's immobile. They don't have much of a passing game. They got to run the football. I don't know if that's enough to beat Patrick Mahomes. Defensively, you got a couple of cats out there, Yadam, and I forgot who else it was that can't see me. They can't defend me. So it's a problem because what happens is that your secondary is suspect with one of the prolific passes in the game today. Now, Patrick Mahomes is a bit compromised. This 2-game losing streak that Kansas City Chiefs are on, he's been sacked 5 times during the 2-game losing streak. He's only completed 55% of his passes. We know that. Make no mistake about it. He's severely hampered by an ankle injury. We can't deny that. That's just the way it is. That's the situation with him. Patrick Mahomes is not healthy at all. And this ankle is a big deal. He's trying to work through it. He's trying to fight through it. But it's a problem. We get that. I just believe that this dude is so prolific that you got to be stout. You've got to be able to have a good enough defense to somewhat contain him from exploding. Because he's going to get his. You got to limit him to 30 and under. He can't explode for 40 plus or whatever like that. But the other side is you got to be able to score. And I don't have faith in the Denver Broncos that they're going to be able to score the football. That's my reservations about them. I don't think they're going to score the football. And I know for a fact Kansas City going to score. You can't convince me that Travis Kelce with Tyreek Hill, Damian Williams, and LaShawn Shady McCoy and all these ain't going to find a way to score the football with Andy Reid as their coach. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. And I believe that Denver, their offense is just not good enough. There's no way for me to slice it. Their offense is just not good enough. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. I'm still trying to figure out how a great quarterback who is far from being a shabby executive in John Elway, I'm still not understanding why it's taken him all of these years to find a quarterback. The only quarterback he's ever had is Peyton Manning. Everybody else, Tebow, Paxton Lynch, Case Keenum, the list goes on and on. Good, decent dudes. But where's the quarterback if you're John Elway? How come you can't find a damn quarterback after all these years? Why can't you? I'm really at a loss for words. I really am. But we could discuss that. Last but not least, congratulations. And by the way, I got to say congratulations and condolences to Bradley Beal of the NBA's Washington Wizards. Signed a 2-year extension for $72 million. He is a star. He is not a scrub. This brother can play. And he's a real good and decent dude, too. So let me make sure I mention that as well. I'm very, very fond of him as a player and a person. As far as I'm concerned, he's the star of the Washington Wizards franchise. It is not John Wall. And despite the fact that John Wall annoyed me and lied on me, I still think he's a really good guy. Just a bit sensitive and emotional, that's all. But there's no crime in that. But he's not Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal is the star of the Washington Wizards. John Wall has to get healthy, get back in that lineup, and maybe then they'll be okay. But I'm here to tell you, until that happens, Bradley Beal may be a part of the worst starting roster in the NBA. Bradley Beal is a special player. He really is. And I don't blame Tommy Shepard, the new boss of the Wizards basketball operations now that Ernie Grunfeld was fired last year. But I don't blame Tommy Shepard and his staff one bit for investing in Bradley Beal. He's the future of the franchise. And Bradley Beal, testament to him. He didn't have to sign this deal. Now, it puts him in line because he'll be a free agent in 2020, and it puts him in line, to be clear, to get a max deal, 5 years, $226 million in a couple of years. So let's make sure we remember that as well. But the flip side to it all is this. Bradley Beal deserves better than the Wizards. And I'm not trying to cast any aspersions on Tommy Shepard. He just got started. I really not. Scott Brooks is a damn good coach. Is he great? No. But he's a good coach. He knows what he's doing. I think the biggest hindrance to Scott Brooks' success is that he doesn't really invite confrontation. And sometimes as a coach, you need to do that. Bradley Beal is just 26 years of age, just turned 26 in June. It's an incredible investment on the part of the Wizards to keep him on board, and I get all of that. But my God, this roster. I mean, the Wizards might have one of the most awful rosters in the last 20 years. I hope I'm wrong, because I got friends and loved ones in D.C. that actually pay their hard-earned money to go to those games. And I don't wish this kind of misery upon anybody. But I gotta admit, I'm not sure that it's going to get any better for the Washington Wizards. John Wall's not expected to come back. And if I'm Bradley Beal, yeah, you got to sign this money because you want to line yourself up to get that max extension, and I get that part. The flip side to it is that, damn, I want to be on a playoff contender. I want to have something to look forward to. I want the folks in the nation's capital to have something to look forward to, especially in that town, as divisive as it is, as divided as it is, over the politics. You want someplace to go and unwind and relax and cheer. You can't even do that with the Wizards because they're going to be that awful. Which brings in the question, why would Bradley Beal sign and commit himself to that basketball purgatory? Some would say loyalty. They'll even bring up Damian Lillard in Portland and how he committed to them and ultimately signed for the Supermax. My thing with Damian Lillard is that he's been making the playoffs pretty much his whole career. Bradley Beal's situation, entirely different. Could you imagine Bradley Beal on the Lakers with LeBron and AD? Can anybody imagine that? You have any idea how special that would be? Could you imagine Bradley Beal as a third wheel with James Harden and Russell Westbrook in Houston? With Russell having the freedom to kick it out to those two dudes. You have any idea how lethal that would be? Think about that. Then get back to me. 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. You're listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio, ESPN News. We'll get back to your calls and more in just a minute. Don't touch that dial. By the way, we all love a night out, whether it's seeing our favorite band in person or being there in the crowd to cheer on our favorite team. Vivid Seats is the top source for tickets.